going backwards a bit, now we're going to take a look at another Zexal archetype, this one being used by the youngest of the Archetype brothers, 3. Another XC spam archetype from the Zexal era, and one of my favorites visually, so yeah, let's see how they hold on into today's modern world of card gaming. Starting with the level 3 Chronomaly Crystal Skull. Indiana Jones reference. And if you control a face-up Chronomaly monster, you can discard this card to the graveyard, add one Chronomaly monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except Chronomaly Crystal Skull. The effect of Chronomaly Crystal Skull can only be used once per turn. I would really love it if the requirement wasn't for you to be controlling a Chronomaly monster instead, since this is actually a pretty good searcher, since it can even fetch from the graveyard. And it can add any Chronomaly monster, meaning it can fetch your entire archetype at that. So yeah, definitely still with that limitation, it's still a 3-off staple in the archetype, since and the Chronomaly also have some graveyard setup cards, cards that help with that so that you can proceed to revive them. But anyway, let's take a look at the other half of the monster, that being Chronomaly Crystal Bones. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. When you do, you can special summon one Chronomaly monster from your hand or graveyard, except Chronomaly Crystal Bones. So yeah, like expected, it works in tandem with Crystal Skull, and yeah, a few other Chronomaly monsters will have mentioned later. Also a 3-off staple, because it's a special summonable monsters, and you need all the free special summonable monsters you can get in today's linked format. So yeah, definitely a 3-off staple, and you can special summon another Chronomaly monster, not regarding any levels or anything like that. So yeah, really splashable, and always run 3 of them. And their next one is also a 3-off staple, that being Chronomaly Gordian Knot, a level 3, another one, and it's one of their final level 3s. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one Chronomaly monster from your hand, and if you do, this card's level becomes the current level of that special summoned monster. Do you see why you run 3? Because Chronomalys are an XC spam archetype whose levels range from 3 to 6. That means you're going to have plenty of room for experimentation with various ranks of XC spamming. So yeah, you definitely want to run 3 of these, and you're mostly going to be special summoning level 5 monsters with this effect, since Chronomalys are mostly a level 5 spam archetype and level 6 at times. So yeah, always run 3 of these. However, a level 3 you would want to pay nearly as much attention to is Chronomaly Mayan Machine. And this card can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a machine type monster. See the problem here? Chronomalys do not have any 2 tribute monsters at all, let alone machine and monsters at that. So yeah, ignore this and run far away from it if you're sane. Their next monster is their first level 4 Chronomaly Colossal Head, and oh boy, take a look at this. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target one level 3 or higher attack position monster on the field, change it to face up or face down defense position. The effect of Chronomaly Colossal Head can only be used once per turn. Well, talk about the worst Book of Moon ever. Seriously, if this was a quick effect, I would have actually called it a pretty decent card, but as it is, it's a really shitty retrain of Book of Moon, and the fact that it needs to banish itself in order to apply the effect, yeah, no, I'll just run 1 Book of Moon, then 3 of these, or any of these actually. But anyway, let's move on to something else, that being Chronomaly Aztec Mask Golem. During your turn, if you have activated a Chronomaly spell card previously this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only control 1 Chronomaly Aztec Mask Golem. Yeah, as I said, special summonings are nice, but yeah, this one requires a Chronomaly spell card, and those are not quite the best around, if I dare say so myself. We'll get to that later, but yeah, I'd say run 1 or 2 of them if you feel like it, but you are encouraged to run at least 1 of them because of the special summoning condition. Anyway, the next monster is Chronomaly Cabrera Trebuchet. Once per turn you can tribute 1 other Chronomaly monster, then target 1 face-up monster on your opponent controls. its attack becomes 0 until the end phase. If you really want to completely reduce the attack of the opponent's monster to 0, then you're simply better off playing Reptilian. And the best part, I mean, massive air quotes here, the best part about this card is that the change lasts until the end phase for some ungodly reason. And the fact that you need to tribute another Chronomaly monster other than this thing in order to apply it. Oh god, just ignore this one at all times. Their next monster is actually a pretty decent target for Gordian, not that being Chronomaly Golden Jet. Once per turn you can increase the levels of all Chronomaly monsters you currently control by 1. As you already probably know, you summon this with Gordian Knot, they both become level 4, and then this thing's effect pops them to level 5, which is their most ranged monster pool with these in terms of XC spamming. So yeah, Chronomaly Golden Jet is always run at 3 in any builds along with Gordian Knot. So yeah, really good card. And their next monster is Chronomaly Mod Golem, and if a Chronomaly monster attacks a defense position monster and inflicts piercing damage. I mean, its attack is really good, but why? Why piercing? Because why not more XC spamming effects? Why not monster hoarding? What was the idea with this? I mean, the XC's monsters can benefit with this, but you're mostly gonna use this for XC spamming, so yeah, I'd say run if you really feel like it. And their next level 4 is actually a really good one, and it's a 3-off staple, definitely, that being Chronomaly Navarro Mask. And when this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 Chronomaly card from your deck to your hand, except Chronomaly Navarro Mask. If this card is in the graveyard and all monsters you control are Chronomaly monsters, minimum 1, you can special summon this card in defense position. You cannot activate cards or effects during the turn you activate this effect except Chronomaly cards and effects. You can only use the Chronomaly Navarro Mask effect once per turn. Oh, whoa. Oh god, I was misreading this as Mask and it was actually this. Silly me. But anyway, yeah, this is definitely really a 3-off staple since it's just a better version of Skull in my opinion, because it works on normal summoning and you can special summon other monsters if you have the appropriate setup, and yeah, it has a decent recycling ability, and as we'll see, the recycling abilities for this archetype is not very good, as we'll see on later. So yeah, definitely a 3-off staple in any build, and I can't believe I was calling it Mask for some reason instead of Disc. Oh, because of the rarity print I couldn't see properly. Moving on, Chronomaly Winged Sphinx is their first tribute monster, and it's a level 5. And when this card is normal summon, you can target 1 level 5 or higher, or level 5 Chronomaly monster in your graveyard, special summon the target. You cannot special summon monsters in the turn you activate this effect except Chronomaly monsters. Well, it's decent, but it requires graveyard setup, and yeah, it needs to hit the field by tribute summoning. That's its biggest gripe. However, this thing is run at least 1 or 2 because level 5 is the most varied monster pool this archetype can pull off in terms of XC's plays. So yeah, run at least 1 or 2 of these. Their next monster is another level 5, that being Chronomaly Tula Guardian. If there is a face-up field spell card on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only control 1 Tula Guardian. Yeah. If you're wondering, the archetype does have a field spell and it's not that great. However, it can say any field spell. So yeah, that's a plus in my book then. However, it's a real shame that you can only control 1 of them. But yeah, provided if you have Skill Drain or Forbidden Chalice in your hand, that can be easily circumvented. So yeah, not everything is bad. Run 3 of them. And our next monster is a Chronomaly Moai Carrier. If your opponent controls a card and you control no cards, you can special summon this card from your hand. This would be a little better if it was only limited to monsters, since yeah, most of these cards are limited only to monsters. Just look at all the Cyber Dragons. And yeah, so yeah, this is definitely a 3-off staple, and it works really well in tandem with Chronomaly Moai itself. If you control a face-up Chronomaly monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in face-up defense position. So basically, if you open up well, you special summon Moai Carrier, special summon Moai, go into their rank 5. What's not to like? And you still have a normal summon remaining. Always run 3 Moai. It can be used as a decent wall as well. And their own final monster and their first level 6 at that being Chronomaly Soul Monolith. Once per turn you can target one Chronomaly monster you control, its level becomes 6 and you cannot special summon any monsters during the turn you activate this effect except Chronomaly monsters. With it being level 6 and with an effect like this, it's limited to their boss monster, which we'll get into a bit later. But yeah, as a level 6, yeah, I mean, it does its job well. It isn't limited to when it's normal summon, thank God. So yeah, I believe not everything is bad. Run at least one of them if you're aiming to summon their boss monster. Their next monster is their first Xyz monster, Chronomaly Crystal Chrononaut. It's a rank 3 that requires 2 level 3 monsters. It's a psychic for some goddamn reason, even though the most of the archetype is machines and rock types. And once per turn, when this card is targeted for an attack, you can detach one Xyz material from this card. This card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving this card. Yeah, if you open up with the Crystal Bones and some other level 3, this is a decent first turn option, since it has tolerable protection for the time. So yeah, run at least 1 or 2 of these if you feel like it. Their next monster is actually their boss monster. I know why I'm showing you all this early, because I'm going by the numerical order. That being number 6 Chronomaly Atlandis. It requires 2 level 6 monsters, and when this card is Xyz summoned, you can target one number monster in your graveyard, equip that target to this card. This card gains attack equal to half the attack of the equipped monster. Once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, then send the monster equipped by this effect to the graveyard. Halve your opponent's life points. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect. You know, in the last 2 videos, I mentioned that I hate Xyz monsters whose effect can be applied only once. And this one is even worse in my opinion, because it requires you to already have a number monster in the graveyard in order to attach it, then detach it once in order to use the effect. And yeah, you basically do not use that other Xyz material. Well, the monster got a Chaos version, the bossiest of boss monsters, so let's see if it's better. Now, Chaos number 6 Chronomaly Chaos Atlantis is their ultimate boss monster. Requires 3 level 7 monsters or rank up magic. And if you activate any of this card's effect, your opponents take no further damage this turn. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, equip that target to this card as an equipped card, and whose effect makes the opponent's monsters gain 1000 attack. If this card has a number 6 Chronomaly Atlantis as a Xyz material, it gains this effect. You can detach 3 Xyz materials from this card, send all number monsters equipped by this effect to the graveyard, minimum 1, and make your opponent's life points become 100. Well then, that was beautiful. I mean, it can only be used once as well, but it's significantly better since it uses all of your, since it reduces basically to nothing, kind of like Earthbound Immortal Viracocha Rastka's anime effect. But yeah, it feels really clunky to boot, and yeah, the best thing about this card is its attack value, so yeah. Run both of these if you really feel like it. Alright. Going back to their lower ranked monsters, first off we have number 33 Chronomaly Machu Mech. Requires any 2 level 5 monsters, and once per turn you can detach one Xyz material from this card to target one face-up monster your opponent controls, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference between its original attack and its current attack. And if you do, this card gains attack equal to the damage inflicted. So yeah, this pretty much requires your opponent to have an attack boosting or attack reducting card on the field for this to take effect. which makes it incredibly specific, and that's what I really hate about some of these cards, the fact that they're incredibly specific. Yeah, I would say run again if you really feel like it. And their final monster is actually probably one of their best monsters, that being Chronomaly Chateau Hayek, number 36. Requires 2 level 4 Chronomaly monsters, and once per turn during either player's turn you can detach 1 Exceed material from this card, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, change its attack to 0 until the end phase of this turn. You can tribute 1 Chronomaly monster, then target 1 monster your opponent controls whose attack is different from its original attack, destroy this target. Straight up destroying upon damn it, I forget to speak. There we go. Upon changing its attack to 0 is pretty sweet, but you might as well be playing Reptilian if you're focusing on complete attack reduction. Seriously. The best thing going for this thing is the rank 4, since the rank 4 is the easiest to summon, and yeah, as we all saw, the Chronomaly extra deck lineup ain't too good, if I dare say so myself. So yeah, you're better off with the generic rank 4s and rank 5s and rank 6 engines. So yeah, the extra deck and the monster lineup doesn't go out with a bang at all. Alright, time for their field spell I mentioned earlier, Chronomaly City Babylon. Once per turn you can banish 1 Chronomaly monster from your graveyard and target 1 Chronomaly monster in your graveyard with the same level as the banished monster, special summon it. Well, when I said the Archetype had some recovery options in this field spell when I was talking about Tula Guardian, yeah, I talked about one worse in every specific way, and yeah, the fact that it needs to banish monsters in order to do something. Yeah, just run Soul Charge, you'll save yourself much more precious time, and you're better off with something else if you create a field spell. And their next spell card is Chronomaly Pyramid Eye Tablet. And all Chronomaly monsters you control gain 800 attack points. It's decent, but it's not searchable by anything, which makes it rather bricky if you don't have proper monsters set up on your field already. But still, run at least one of them because, yeah, it can help you out in a pinch. And their final spell card is Chronomaly Technology. Target 1 Chronomaly monster in your graveyard, banish it. Then look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add one of them to your hand and set the other to the graveyard. You can only activate 1 Chronomaly Technology per turn, and you cannot special summon any monsters during the same turn you activate this effect except Chronomaly monsters. Or, you cannot be a complete idiot and just run Pot of Duality instead. Seriously, Pot of Duality is better in almost every way except it prevents you from special summoning at all. Well, this thing only limits you to Chronomaly monsters, but yeah. Don't use this, just run Pot of Duality if you create a card like this. And their last card is their first trap card, Stonehenge Methods. When a face-up Chronomaly monster you control is destroyed by battle or by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon 1 level 4 or lower Chronomaly monsters from your hand from your deck in face-up defense position and cannot change its battle position. So basically this is an archetypal hero signal, one worse in every possible way because their level 4 lineup is mostly pure garbage. Yeah, I said everything. But yeah, you can also use it on lower monsters, meaning you can summon level 3s with it, but yeah, those are a bit too far off in between, and most of them work on normal summoning or special summoning from the hand. So yeah. Run if you feel like it, really. Alright, grades. This is a bit tricky. I didn't expect this archetype to be so underwhelming. Consistency. We have Crystal Skull, and then we have Gordian Knot, and some plays with Crystal Bones as well. And as for the searching capability elsewhere, there's the Navarro Disc as well, so even though it takes a bit while, usually it's not a very big problem in getting to your monster, so I'll give it a generous 2 out of 3. Their power is limited exclusively to their Xyz monsters, which don't hit the field nearly as often as you think, because no one runs them in modern builds because of their specific effects, so I'll give it a 1 out of 3 there. Now comeback ability, yeah, no. We have Navarro Disc is the revival ability. We have the field spell recycling, which is about as specific as you can get. Stonehenge Methods is rarely ran. Yeah, it completely relies on soul charge and stuff like that, so I'll give it a 1 out of 3 and there. Protection, none to speak of, really. There wasn't a single protection effect mentioned in these card effects as well, so 1 out of 3 as well. And as for the versatility, because of Gordy and Knot and because of their major splash ability and their ranks fetching from rank 3, 4, 5, and 6, they have some edges and versatility, but not too much, so I'll give it a generous 2 out of 3 there. Well, I actually kind of like this archetype visually, but I didn't expect it to be so underwhelming. Wow. So yeah, this was fun. I can't believe I was pronouncing Chronomaly Navarro Mask instead of Navarro Disc for some reason. My god, what was happening to me back then? Why did I read out Navarro Mask instead of Navarro Disc? That shall haunt me for the rest of my life. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more results and updates. Comment, like, and subscribe. And as usual, I'll upload the next part, next vid, whenever I can. See you all. Have a good day, and peace.